3:17 in the morning, a car rolled into my lane with a toll ticket, already damp, in the driver's hand. The stamp was mine, same booth, same minute, same purple ink. And I hadn't issued a single ticket all shift. I looked up to ask where he'd entered the turnpike and saw dried blood crusted down one ear, and both his hands locked at 10 and 2, like somebody else had arranged them there before he ever arrived. My name is Daniel Mercer. I'm 38, and until last night I ran the overnight shift at the Green Hollow Toll Plaza, eastbound Camden Turnpike. Booth 4, midnight to 6. I've worked for the Turnpike Authority 11 years. I know that booth better than my own kitchen, the treadle sensors, the arm motor, the 2-second lag on the lane camera, which drawer sticks. That stretch of road dies after 2 a.m. A few long-haul rigs, sometimes a nurse coming off shift at Red Bank Memorial. Mostly sodium lights and moths, and a radio that pulls in weather from counties 3 states over. By 2:40 last night, I'd had 1 cash pickup, 1 easy pass violation, and a raccoon working over a bag of Fritos by the guardrail. That was the whole shift. Clear sky, dry pavement, wind off the marsh. At 3:17, my headset gave 1 clean chime, a lane 4 approach. The induction loop hadn't tripped. I looked up anyway, and a car was already sitting under my canopy. It hadn't been there 10 seconds before. It was a Camry, dark gray, maybe 5 years old, engine idling smooth. No front plate. The rear plate was crusted with road salt from some storm long past, thick enough to blur every digit but the first. The driver was heavy-set, mid-50s, in a tan windbreaker zipped to his throat. He cracked the window 3 inches and pushed a paper ticket out between 2 fingers. We still hand-issue paper on that stretch when a transponder won't read cardstock slips, plaza code, lane, date, time, stamped in impact ink. Muscle memory made me take it before I looked down. Green Hollow, lane 4, 3:17 a.m. The same minute on the clock over my monitor. The same booth I was sitting in. The stock was damp and soft, like it had been folded wet and carried for years. I asked him where he'd entered. He didn't answer. Both hands stayed on the wheel, 10 and 2, set there like someone had arranged them. His right ear was crusted dark down into his collar. He didn't blink once. I thought stroke, diabetic shock. We're trained to watch for it. I hit the assist pedal to flag the supervisor box, leaned out of the booth, and told him to put it in park. Nothing. His eyes were open, pointed at me, but they weren't tracking dull, like river stones. Then I saw the rest of him. The seat belt was cinched high and tight across his throat, twisted once, the collar underneath soaked black. A smell came off the window gap that wasn't alcohol, wasn't sickness, wet pennies, cold mud. I stepped out with my flashlight. The bumper sat 6 inches from the still lowered arm. I swept the light across the windshield. His fingers were locked stiff on the wheel, knuckles flattened, nails gone gray. A toll envelope on the passenger seat had swollen thick with water. On the back floor mat, marsh grass and black silt, spread out even like someone had emptied a pair of boots there on purpose. Then he exhaled. One long breath, wet at the edges, the glass fogged from the bottom up. I backed toward the booth and called it in on the plaza line. While I gave the dispatcher our mile marker, the ticket printer behind me started cycling on its own, clack, 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 fast, the sound it only makes when the entry loop feeds stock. Booth 4 doesn't have an entry dispenser. It never has. It reads and collects. That's all it does. I turned around anyway. A single slip had pushed out through the maintenance slot under the monitor, the port that's not meant for customer tickets at all. It landed on the floor by my boot. Green Hollow. Lane 4. 3:17 a.m. I was already holding one exactly like it. I checked the live feed. The Camry sat there, engine running, windshield gone milky white. The event log showed nothing. No axle count, no loop trigger, no read. My last recorded transaction was 1:08 a.m. A landscaper, cash, $350. The internal line rang. My supervisor asked why I just opened booth 4 for entry traffic. I told her that booth can't issue entries. She didn't say anything for long enough that I heard her headset knock against her teeth. Her name is Colleen Bryce. She runs nights from the admin trailer 200 yards down. She drove over on the utility cart, and I met her between the lanes because I wasn't leaving the booth out of my sight. I still had both tickets folded in my fist. She stopped walking the second she saw the car. She asked if I was pulling something. I told her to look at his ear, look at the belt. She said that wasn't what she meant. She was looking past the canopy, past the north guardrail at the tree line where an access road used to run before the Turnpike widened, out to an old toll house they tore down in '98. A storm opened a sinkhole under that road one night. A car went through it in the dark because the barricade lights had failed. They dredged the marsh for 2 days. What they brought up didn't add up to a whole person. I asked what that had to do with tonight. She looked at the 2 tickets in my hand, and her face changed. She said the old toll house had been booth 4-2. Trooper Velasquez and 1 EMT arrived at 3:31. They came at the Camry from both sides. The EMT tried the passenger door, locked. Velasquez rapped the glass with his flashlight, announced himself. Nothing. Then the driver moved, not toward the trooper, toward me. His head turned in one stiff piece until his face pointed at booth 4 again. The fog on the glass had thinned enough that I could see his mouth was full of black water, held there, level with his lower lip, like his cheeks were a bowl. His jaw worked once. I heard the glass tap from 20 feet away. Not knuckles, something harder. Velasquez broke the passenger window with a spring punch. Water came out with the glass, not a splash, a sheet, the kind you get tipping over a cooler, carrying reeds and coins, and that black silt across the lane. The EMT jumped back. Velasquez reached in for the lock and pulled his hand out fast, staring at his own glove. He wouldn't tell me later what he'd felt. Right then, all he said was that the car was cold. His breath was smoking. It was August. When they got the driver's door open, he leaned into it, held him up. His skin had gone the color fish get under ice. The smell was worse close up, mud, metal, something sweet underneath it, like a riverbank in July. Velasquez cut the belt, and the body dropped against the rocker panel with a sound I'm not going to try to describe better than that. His wallet matched his face. Thomas V. Harlan, 56, Bellport. The Camry's registration was current, renewed last month. Colleen was beside me when Velasquez pulled a second thing from Harlan's breast pocket. A receipt, folded in 4, fused stiff with damp. He worked it open on the hood under his light. Toll receipt, cash paid, Green Hollow Plaza, Booth 4. Dated September 14th, 1998. Time of transaction, 3:17 M. Colleen sat straight down on the concrete island. Velasquez asked who'd worked Booth 4 that night in '98. Colleen couldn't get the name out, so I said it. There's a plaque in our break room, Mara Kessler. She's the one they never recovered. You asked why I ran. I'm getting there. While Velasquez was still reading the receipt, the Camry's dome light came on by itself. Nobody had touched it. From my booth, the back seat had looked empty, except for the silt. It wasn't empty. Someone sat directly behind Harlan. Small frame. An old-style toll blouse, green, collar buttoned to the neck. Wet hair hung forward and hid the face down past the chin. Both hands rested on Harlan's shoulders, fingers sunk into the windbreaker fabric to the second knuckle, not tearing it, just settled in, the way fingers sink into something that stopped being solid. Velasquez shouted and stumbled back. The dome light flickered once. In that flicker, the hair shifted, and I saw a strip of forehead and the edge of one eye open, packed full of gray silt. Then the horn went off, long and steady, and every light in the plaza cut out at once. In the dark, I heard the rear door swing open. I heard shoes step down into the standing water. Small shoes, unhurried, coming toward my booth. That's when I left. Pull the footage from camera 4 at 3:34 yourself, if you can get it. Just don't stop on the frame where she reaches the glass. Subscribe if you want to hear what I found waiting inside booth 4 when I went back for my jacket.